Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Mull for Friday, the 29th of January. Today, reading in Genesis chapter 30, we continue with the story of Jacob. He's married the love of his life, Rachel, but his father-in-law tricked him into marrying Leah, her sister, as well. And so you have this competitive family. Leah has children, Rachel is childless, and it is an unhappy situation. In verse 14, we read, "During the wheat harvest, Reuben went out into the field." Now, Reuben was one of Leah's children, one of her sons. Reuben went out into the fields and found some mandrake plants, which he brought home to his mother. Rachel said to Leah, "Please give me some of your son's mandrakes." But she said to her, "Wasn't it enough that you took away my husband? Will you also take my son's mandrakes too?" "Very well," Rachel said, "he can sleep with you tonight in return for your son's mandrakes." So when Jacob came in from the field that evening, Leah went out to meet him. "You must sleep with me tonight," she said. "I've hired you with my son's mandrakes." So he slept with her that night. God listened to Leah, and she became pregnant and bore Jacob a fifth son, and they named him Issachar. And I was just struck by that verse. "I have hired you with my son's mandrakes. You must sleep with me tonight." Now, this wasn't one of the surrounding pagan nations that poor Jacob was forced to live amongst. This wasn't the neighboring king that was ungodly. This was the people of God. These were the son of Abraham and his family. And as we read through Genesis, it is a dysfunctional family. There is competition and fighting, and even between the sons, there's a huge amount of sibling rivalry. And as I read that, I thought, we sometimes think that God makes us perfect. And as Christians, we are inclined to look at people and note their imperfections. Of course, we don't see our own imperfections because we're blind to them, but we can judge other people for their imperfections. And my goodness, would Jacob and his family have had a rough time in the church today with the standards we set. And yet we need to get to the point where we recognize that we are all fallen. We are all struggling, and we are not going to be perfect, not until we reach glory. We're going to continue to live a human life with all our human frailties and the complexity that involves. And it doesn't only apply to us as individuals in our family lives, but it applies to the church as well. And I've been thinking about the church and the problems that there are, and the failures that we see so frequently, and the complexity and the tensions and the divisions and all of those things that plague the church. We think, oh, the church of God oughtn't to be like that. Well, no, it oughtn't to, but it is, and it has been all along. And that doesn't stop God from working in it and working through it. In the same way that this family that we read about, with Jacob and Rachel and Leah and their servants and the sons, they became the 12 tribes of Israel, and God used them. So for me, that's a great encouragement, and it's a challenge to look kindly on the people that I meet and the frailties that I see, because God works in and through all of us. Know that and be encouraged.